everyone, this is Miss Moriarty and I'm here to discuss with us our lecture video on topic 8.6, which is all about thermal pollution. Now, thermal pollution, guys, is a non-chemical form of pollution that you may not necessarily always think about, but because of what we know about temperature as well as solubility of oxygen, it can play a role in how much oxygen is available in a waterway at any given time. So to understand how thermal pollution works, we need to first understand the definition of solubility. So solubility would be a substance's ability to dissolve into a liquid, so oxygen, right, dissolving into water in this case. We know that water temperature and oxygen solubility have an inverse type of relationship. So as we see water temperature increase, the amount of dissolved oxygen is going to then decrease. So with thermal pollution, we see that this is a form of non-chemical water pollution driven by human activities that are going to change the temperature of the water, which has the ability to then change how much DO is available in that water. What this can then cause to organisms that reside in that local waterway would be then thermal shock. So this would be a dramatic change in water temperature that has the ability to kill those organisms. And a part of the reason why it's going to kill those organisms is because as we increase the water temperature, we tend to see the rates of respiration of aquatic organisms increase, and we see the available DO decrease. With not as much dissolved oxygen available, this can then lead to suffocation. And those organisms can then no longer support their respiration. They can no longer survive and reproduce. So what may be sources then of thermal pollution? Well, if we think back to Unit 6, when we talked about different fuel types, a lot of those fuel types tend to use water as a source to obviously like heat steam, turn a turbine, and so on. So places that may experience thermal pollution could be things like steel mills, paper mills, and even nuclear power plants, especially since they require large amounts of cool water to then turn back into steam around that reactor core. We can also interestingly see thermal pollution during urban stormwater runoff as well. This goes back to that concept of albedo. If we know that an area tends to have very dark colored surfaces, especially in like the summertime, for example, they're going to absorb tremendous amounts of heat, and if it does happen to rain, that then water that's being run off in that area is going to be much higher in temperature. So one common solution could be using those cooling towers that release excess heat into the atmosphere instead of into the local waterway where they would normally place that water. So here's a little quick practice FRQ for 8.6. If you want to pause the video at this point, you want to answer it in your note packet and answer it in the Edpuzzle, please. All right, at this point, we should have paused the video and answered our FRQ. So here our FRQ reads, a massive bluegill fish kill was observed in a lake near a power plant during our winter months. It was determined that the plant was releasing large amounts of hot water into the lake. Explain what most likely caused the fish kill. Well, in relation to that much hotter water being put into that lake in winter months, we should have seen an influx of that warmer water cause the availability of the dissolved oxygen to decrease. This can then lead to the increased metabolic rates of those bluegill fish, hence creating tremendous amounts of physiological stress from those limited resource availability and leading to our fish kill death. All right, everyone, that is it for our 8.6. Make sure you just leave a question at the end.